Welcome to WWW Wario.
What's going on, people? This is Wario here, and we are back with a new top 10, or in this case a top 5. We're talking Legend of Zelda, which we haven't done in a little while, and we are talking about something about the core element of the Zelda games, being the dungeons. Now the dungeons, they are kind of, as I said, the core of the Zelda games. They're kind of what everyone is looking forward to. They're basically the main obstacle in the Legend of Zelda games, and what awaits you at the end of each dungeon. It's obviously gross. No, it's the bosses, and that's what we're here to talk about today, the boss battles. These are my 5 favorite boss battles from the whole Legend of Zelda series. Now keep in mind, these are just my personal preferences. This doesn't mean that these are necessarily the best ones. This is just the ones that I prefer the most, that I find to be the coolest ones, or whatever I find a reason to be. Anyways, we're gonna jump straight into the list, and I hope you're gonna enjoy this video. Coming in at number 5, we have a boss from the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, and this is a really interesting boss that I've gotten a little bit of hate, or not really hate, but it has gotten some, can we say, confusion. This boss is Tantalus, the boss, or the boss of the Sandship dungeon. The Sandship is a really great dungeon. It's set in a sea of, well, obviously sand, and it switches between the future and the past through time shift stones. Now when you get to the boss door of this dungeon, what maybe some of you await inside of that door, just like I did, is a boss with maybe a pirate of some sort. That would make a lot of sense, but when you enter the door, nobody is in there, and you start to wonder what the heck is going on, and the lights are cut off, and the ship is starting to shake, and the lights turn off, as I said, and the ship is now attacked by a big squid-like creature or something. You don't really know, you don't really see it. So, you start to get the hell out of there, because the water is starting to flow up in the ship, and as I said, tentacles are starting to get through the ship. And the whole thing is shaking, so you know some crazy shit is going on, so you just want to get the hell out of there. When you do get the hell out of there, however, you see that the scenery has changed a lot, from a pretty beautiful area actually, to a more of a stormy, scary scenery. And the boss that appears, the reason that it's gotten a lot of hate towards it is because it looks very like that chick from Monsters Inc. However, I have never found any problem with this boss design. I just think that the build-up to this boss and the boss battle itself is also not too bad. I especially like the build-up to it because it is something that is unexpected. You expect a pirate maybe, at least I did so, but instead you need to escape. You get an escape sequence which is actually pretty intense, or pretty tense. Pretty, not scary, but yeah, tense. And when you finally get out of there, you see that the whole area has changed, and the actual place you fight the boss is a place you've been before, which is pretty cool, which is the outside of the ship. And the fact that the boss is a huge sea monster is also pretty cool. Main, weak spot of the boss is maybe a bit cliche, being out eyeball, but I don't really care, I like the boss nonetheless. Skyward Sword just is an amazing game, I guess, because it returns for the number 4 spot. This time we're talking about the boss of the ancient system, this time being President Colossus. At least he looks kind of like a president thing, a robot president of some sort, a president in an iron suit. This is Colossus we're talking about, the man or the robot with many arms. Colossus is such an amazing boss, I think, because it basically is one of the most satisfying boss battles in the whole franchise. What I'm specifically pointing out to is the second stage of the boss, when you are, or actually the first part of the boss as well. You use the recently acquired weapon being the whip, a little whip you can throw at his arms and just rip him off. And with the motion controls of the Wii remotes, it becomes even more satisfying, and therefore the second part of the boss becomes twice as satisfying, because not only do you rip off his arms, but a mechanic is returning from the Wind Waker, being able to pick up enemy weapons, and now you can absolutely go bananas on this guy and just wreck him to pieces. The screen is shaking, his feet are cut off, and you use the motion control, so you feel really like the power is in your hands during this whole fight, which I really love. This boss battle is not only fun, but satisfying as hell. Majora's Mask, I really like that game, and I'm pretty sure many other people do as well. Majora's Mask is a weird game, a cool game, and just all in all a pretty screwed up game all in all, which makes it so good. And the boss we're pointing towards here is the boss from the second dungeon, the Snowhead Temple. This boss is pretty famous and pretty much loved by everybody. This is Goat, or Goat, or... like, how do you pronounce this name? And what I'm trying to say is, God is an amazing boss. He is really just... he's not a usual type of boss you fight. In Majora's Mask, you often use, or most of the time use the masks you've collected to defeat the boss, and in this case you use it 90% of the time, and you're also using my favorite mask, being the Goron Mask. The God's battle arena is basically a circle, a straight up circle with a few jumps here and there. Nothing else really, and that's the whole battle arena, and everything that this god does is run around this, little arena while shooting these lasers beam back at you and making rocks fall down from the ceiling and all kind of crazy shit. And you, as Goron Link, maybe you have understood it already, but you have to just race against him. This is a little like a racing boss, which is very cool. You use the Goron Link form to just roll around the whole thing, and since there are jumps here and there, it makes it even more fun to just jump around, roll around, dodge the attacks, and jump into the god itself to defeat him. It's a really satisfying boss, and a boss where you don't really use normal Link at all. Maybe you do it when you want to hit the sweet spot, but other than that, there's not really much to it when it comes to normal Link. You're just Goron Link just rolling around and having a good time, which I really like. It's not like I want all Zelda bosses to be like this, because obviously too much of something is no good, but the fact that we've gotten one of these bosses is just magnificent. Oh, you thought we were done with Majora's Mask, didn't you? But no, we are not done just yet, because is there a boss lurking within the game, the Majora's Mask game, that is even better than Goat? Or Goat? I'm done! Oh yes, my dear friends, there sure are. We are talking about the boss of the best temple, or the best dungeon in the game, at least after my taste, the Stone Tower Temple, and the boss we're talking about is Twin Mold. This is a boss that has changed a lot from the original N64 version to the 3DS remake. And the one I'm referring to here is the 3DS remake version. Unfortunately, I didn't find any good footage of the Twin Mold fight from the 3DS version, so what you're seeing on the screen now is just a battle from the N64 version, so I'm just going to talk quickly about how the 3DS battle works. So that one was changed up drastically, because in the 3DS version, basically you're in this sandbox arena with just a few stone platforms here and there, and you have these huge snake-like creatures flying around, two of them. And one of them is red and one is blue. One of them you have to take out first. At least I think you have to take like one specific onward first. That one you have to shoot some sweet spots on his body with arrows, which will make him fall to the ground. And then you have to shoot his tail with a light arrow, which isn't so very easy as it sounds, because he moves pretty fast along the ground. But after you defeated this guy, and then a chest appears in the middle of the boss fight, and this is in fact a new mask, which is exclusive to this boss battle, being the Giant Mask. This mask turns you into a giant. Now in the N64 version, you got this before the boss fight, and you could use it to just slash your sword on the enemies or on the bosses, making the boss fight tons easier. This time, however, you get it in the middle of the fight, and you're not using your sword anymore, but you're using your fists. That's right, Link just turned into a friggin'... I was gonna say samurai, but they use a sword too. Anyways, Link's turn is the big fighting daddy, as he fights this now smaller, or Link is bigger, he's now fighting the smaller, well, snake, is that a good word? Snake, or this flying boss that remains with his fist. He can also pick up boulders and throw at him, and the boss is just really fun. And also, to land like the final blow, or the sweet spot blow, you have to grab his tail, swing him around and dash him into the ground, which is truly satisfying to look at, and is a huge upgrade from the original N64 battle. this boss battle is not only varied, but is also very unique compared to other boss battles where you often just have to shoot a sweet spot and then attacking with a sword. This boss battle is just super overlooked, I feel. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. This is number one. How could that be? Well, it's a final boss battle. And it is not from Ocarina of Time, it's not from Majora's Mask, it's not from Skyward Sword, and it's not from the Wind Waker either. So, this is the final boss battle from The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. This boss battle, just gonna say it straight away, is just perfect in every single way. I feel, at least. Because this boss battle is not just a battle, it is several battles. This boss battle is against Ganondorf himself. After this amazing dungeon of the Hyrule Castle, it has a great build-up to this boss battle, truly. Now, the cutscene that plays before this boss battle begins is also very awesome. We get to meet Ganondorf face to face, and then Ganondorf, he possesses Zelda. He takes over kind of her body. So the first boss battle of four battles, is actually against Zelda herself, or a possessed Zelda. So this is pretty cool, because during this Zelda fight, you have this classic ping pong or tennis gameplay from Ocarina of Time, and you also have an evil version of Zelda's Lullaby playing in the background as a background music, which is pretty awesome. After you defeat Zelda though, Ganondorf turns into his beast form, being Ganon, and you have to fight this boss. And I'm gonna say straight away, the fight against Ganon in this game is the scariest fight in any Zelda game to me. I mean, the surroundings are not dark and stuff, but it's just the music and Ganon himself. The music, this chanting, this quick chanting in the background, is very, very it gives you a feeling of panic. Like something's right behind you, you know? And something is right behind you. And it is a giant black and red monster with white glowing eyes. You instantly think of a demon or something. And the worst thing is when Ganon starts to go through these portals, cycle through these portals, and the music slows down a bit to this mysterious version of Ganondorf's theme. And it takes a little while, and then Ganon comes out of one of these portals, this panic music comes back and he rushes straight towards you. You can also fight this battle both as Wolf Link and normal Link as well, so this is really awesome. After you defeat Ganon the Beast though, you are then sent up to battle Ganondorf himself on a horse alongside with Zelda. So that's pretty cool, I like the horse battle. And then finally, after you defeat Ganondorf on a horse, he falls off, he laughs, he says a few dialogues, he creates this little barrier around you and Ganondorf himself. Ganondorf draws his sword, and finally you're there, 1 against 1, man against man, sword against sword, Link against Ganon, finally. Now, this is such a great progression, because for each of these 4 battles you're kind of getting closer and closer to fighting Ganondorf himself. Just think about it, first of all you aren't fighting Ganondorf at all, you're fighting Zelda, then you're fighting the Beast Ganon, and then you're fighting Ganondorf on a horse, so you're getting closer and closer until finally you are there, against Ganondorf, man against man, the final sword fight. And one thing I'm gonna point out here, when Ganondorf draws his sword there, he pulls it backwards, that epic music starts to play with that awesome beat, and that scary, awesome, epic and intense beat start to play, and the text appears, Dark Lord Ganondorf. Then you know that, okay, this is the final thing, this is the epic showdown that these 3 previous battles has led up to. This build-up and everything around it is so amazing, not to mention the awesome cutscenes in between. The only thing that really bothers me with this boss chain of battles is that his final one against Ganondorf himself is actually pretty easy. It is actually it's not the boss battle isn't too easy, way too easy. It is alright when it comes to difficulty, but in epicness, in atmosphere, throughout all of this. It is just awesomeness throughout, from the beginning to the very end. Thanks so much for watching, guys. This has been a joy to make. I'm sorry I've been uploading very little of The Legend of Zelda lately, but I will be focusing more on top 5s from now on. So if you enjoyed this video, it will be really helpful if you could click the like button that is below this video right here. It does support me more than you maybe think. Now, if you also subscribe to my channel, it will also be really appreciated to www.wario. All the people write my name wrong, okay? It's 3 W's and then Wario, okay? 3 W's and then Wario. Keep that in mind. www. It's a bit hard to say, but you'll get a hang of it anyways. Now, thanks so much for watching again, guys. Subscribe if you want to stay up to date with my videos, which is top 5s, some Smash Bros videos, some music here and there from piano and guitar, and some other things as well. Then you can also always subscribe if you want to see that, basically. Anyways, guys, I want to thank you so much for watching again. Leave your list of favorite boss battles in the description below, and I will for sure take a look at them. Goodbye.
I'm a Wario. I'm gonna win.